This afternoon, West Ham United welcome QPR to the London Stadium for an FA Cup third round tie. West Ham have not had a good run in the FA Cup in previous years, and with confidence at an all-time low, can West Ham restore a little bit of faith this afternoon at the London Stadium? I hope you are all well. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. I was expecting the team lineup at 1:15, but it has not yet arrived from the old West Ham admin. So maybe we're gonna have to wait 15 minutes, just like we used to. A very good afternoon to you. Oh, Mark, hope you are well. Let's have a cup run to ease the pain of relegation. Wish I was confident. Best wishes to my fellow Hammers. I think that's the sentiment of most people, really, is that let's have a welcome distraction. This afternoon's going to go one of two ways. It's going to be a welcome distraction. We're going to have a good win, a good confidence boost ahead of a big game against Spurs next weekend, or it's just going to pile on yet more pain for the Hammers fans and players and put the writing on the wall for the Premier League games that are imminent. Good evening, good afternoon. Sam, I hope you are well. Hi from Stratford. It's raining in Somerset. Is it raining in Stratford? I really hope that it isn't. We are live indeed. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. It's on TV. This afternoon's game is on Discovery Plus. So if you have TNT as part of a Sky subscription, then you can watch this game for no extra cost live on Discovery Plus. See, I didn't even get paid to say that. Mayor's Stars Parade, which is an interesting one. And yeah, we do not have the team line up, so another 14 minutes. We're now 13 minutes, so we're going to have to wait. Brilliant. Thank you very much. If we take the cup seriously, then we can win it and play in Europe next season. Imagine we get in it and then play Europe in the Championship next season. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Dry, but even I think it's cold. Well, if you think it's cold, I'm very much glad that I'm not there, Sam, to be totally honest, because that sounds like hell. But a very good afternoon to you all. Listen, it's a game where anything could happen. We've seen far bigger upsets in the FA Cup this weekend. I could point you in the direction of Wrexham beating Nottingham Forest on Friday night, and then the biggest cup upset, FA Cup upset in the history of the competition, coming on Saturday lunchtime with Macclesfield beating Crystal Palace, who are 117 places above them in the football pyramid, and may I add, the current holders of the FA Cup. Obviously, not for much longer. So we don't know what it is, what sort of mechanism and reason and cocktail of sort of chaos that the FA Cup throws up every year, but upsets always appear. They always materialise. And to be quite frank, at the moment, I think the only upset would be if West Ham beat QPR from our point of view. Most people are expecting the worst this afternoon, and I hope that we can pull it out of the bag. I mean, they've got 9,000. I'm not going to say legal because everybody's legal. 9,000 QPR fans in the away end, and we're expecting thousands other to occupy some of the home areas where West Ham fans have expressed their apathy by not buying a ticket for today's game. So there's going to be a massive QPR contingent inside the London Stadium today who will generate an atmosphere, and maybe that'll help us. Maybe that'll spur us on a little bit more to try and get over the line. But it's a game where we've got to establish ourselves as, currently at least, we are a Premier League club. We're in the league above the team we're facing this afternoon. Yet you have West Ham fans saying that they would not be surprised at all if we're turned over today. Our home form is terrible. To be fair, so is our away form. Our form in general is terrible. We've just come off the back of a 4-game run where we should have picked up between 9 and 12 points. To expect safety, we picked up just 1 point in probably the hardest game out of all 4 of them, which summed it up. But we've got to put that to the side now. Jared Bowen's done his programme notes where he's called for unity in the team and the club, and he's acknowledged that it has not been good enough. Well done, Jared, in the previous few weeks. But let's hope that a player like him is going to stand up. Whether he plays today, I don't know. But let's just try and generate a little bit of momentum today, because we've faced Spurs next weekend, and in my opinion, a much bigger game, right? This game is important. It's the FA Cup. It's something that the fans deeply care about. But with all due respect to this moment in time, there's bigger, I'm not even going to say bigger fish to fry. We have a more important sort of role, and that is to survive in the Premier League. You know, of course, we'd all like a magical FA Cup run, but we'd much prefer it if we're mid-table in the Premier League. We're in a dire position in the league at the moment, and that needs to be our sole focus. So I'm expecting changes today. Whether it'll be wholesale changes, I'm not entirely sure. Whether he'll just make a couple of minor alterations because he sees that this game needs to be won for momentum-based purposes, as I've just mentioned. We're going to find out soon. But I'm just hoping that that whoever starts today, it can be a really good, solid performance, and yeah, as I said, establish ourselves as a team that should be in the Premier League, and hopefully, very fingers crossed, not really believing it. Hopefully, a team that could stay in the Premier League. In terms of the team news today, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is back, thank the Lord. So if it were me for this game and going into next week away at Spurs, I'd be putting Wan-Bissaka on the right and chucking Walker Peters over on the left-hand side. Ollie Scholes has coped just about. He's had a couple of ropey games, but he's a young player who, who is far from his best and is still very early in his development. So he's shown real character in some games, Ollie Scholes, and of course that Fulham game he had a pretty major error, but he bounced back from that well. However, I think we would be much better suited with Wan-Bissaka on the right and Walker Peters on the left. It gives a bit of pace from each side. Juve, we're expecting hopefully back in the next week, maybe in time for the Spurs game, if not definitely the game after. So we've got to try and put in a good performance. Let's hope, for my sake, the performance is as scrumptious as the parsnips I've just eaten from my Sunday roast. So top marks to everybody who made that downstairs. When I say everybody, I mean mum. To be totally honest, so if our performance today can be as good as the Sunday roast I've just had, we're going to win. We're going to win. We could win the FA Cup, Championship, and the Europa Cup. We will probably enter the Guinness Book of Records. Wouldn't that be amazing? Next year, next year, if we won the FA Cup next year and we won the FA Cup this year, so if we went back to back in the FA Cup, which put us into Europe, we won the Europe and the Championship next season. What a ton of events that would be. It'll be pretty staggering, wouldn't it? Who starts in goal? I think he'll give Hermanson a go today. I presume Fabianski's injured because I haven't seen him for a while. I think it could do Areola some good to get him out of the limelight a little bit. He's had a couple of ropey moments in the last few games. So this game is a game that you'd expect rotation to occur in the FA Cup, and he'll be aware of that. It's much better rotating in this game than it is a Premier League game. I can't see Nuno doing that. So this game is a sort of risk-free rotation in my mind. So take him out of the limelight for a little bit, get his head back to where it needs to be ahead of Spurs next week and play Hermanson and see what he's like, because we haven't really seen him since his disaster at the start of this Premier League campaign. Greetings from Jordan. Come on, you eyes, a diehard fan since 1975. It's great to have you watching us this afternoon. And I don't think we've ever had a fan from Jordan before. We've had some fans from a long width and breadth of the world, but I think Jordan's a new one. So thank you very much indeed for joining us. London Stadium is going to be, I'm not going to say empty because there'll be more QPR fans, but it's not going to be full today. It wasn't full on Tuesday, and I think all of it reflects and represents the apathy and just fed up tone and nature of the fan base at the moment. This is a prime example of how we change that. In a game against, yes, a team that we should beat, and yes, a team that is doing okay in the Championship, but on paper, we are better than them. And yes, you could argue on paper we were better than Wolves and maybe Nottingham Forest, fine. But this is the FA Cup. We need to reduce it down to purely we are the better team and we need to show it. Because more often than not, when teams get knocked out of the FA Cup from a team from a lower division or it's an upset, they are not showing their purest ability in the game. And that's what we need to present today. We need to reduce it purely down to we are the better team and let's show it. At the end of the day, we are in a really, really tough position at the moment. And some may think that the FA Cup is just an annoyance and an inconvenience amongst a pretty dire current outlook for West Ham. But we need to use it to our advantage. That's what the good teams do. If the good teams are having a ropey couple of games and they go into the FA Cup, not Spurs, obviously, but good teams go into the FA Cup when they've had a couple of ropey games and they use it as a bit of currency to get a bit of momentum, get a little bit of go in the team. That's exactly what we need to do today. We're at rock bottom, and that was acknowledged by Jared Bowen in the programme notes for today's game. It was a real rallying cry. If you're at the game, just grab one and have a look at what Bowen said. But it was a real rallying cry from Jarrod Bowen, and that's what we need. And we need him to reflect that effort and passion and pride on the pitch, because currently that's not happening, right? We're not showing the the quality that is in our squad. And yes, our squad isn't great. I know that, but it's better than what we are currently projecting. Jarrod Bowen is a better player than what he's currently showing. Now, there's an argument that Jarrod Bowen gets not dropped, rested today is the word I wanted, because it's all becoming a bit much for him, isn't it? Let's be honest. He's captain, he's club captain, he's trying to be a leader and he's failing at it. And it's all well and good when you're sort of 12th or 13th, bobbing along quite nicely, but it really matters now, and it's starting to show with Jarrod Bowen. His performances are reducing, his quality is diminishing. He's not looking like he's going to beat a man. His threat is just eliminating at the moment, to be honest. He's got no threat when he moves forward with the ball. And that's what we need to get. We need to get his spark and his zip and his power and passion back, in my opinion. So I don't think it would be a bad move to just rest Bowen today, get him really fit, firing, and in the right headspace for Tottenham next weekend, where it is a game, probably one of our last chances to really turn it around. After the last four games that we've had, probably the one game that you'd want after it is Spurs away, and that's the one we've got. It's a game where typically in years gone by, no matter how crap we are, we tend to turn up. Last year was an anomaly away from home, fine, but we tend to turn up at Spurs away. We always like to add insult to injury, and they are not in a good place at the moment. They were better in their second half yesterday, but they were pretty dire first half, and that was the reason why they lost. And they are out of the FA Cup. So we need to put ourselves into a position where we can challenge Tottenham next week. And I think the only way we do that is by putting in a positive performance this afternoon. Now, who plays and who gets rested and all the rest of it, that's above my pay grade, and I don't get paid enough money to predict that. But I'm expecting some changes, not wholesale, as I said at the top of the show. So it's going to be interesting to see how seriously Nuno is taking this and the Premier League threat of relegation, to how he mixes and matches his team today, because it's always a situation where um, you know where teams rotate. I've just seen Arsenal's team as they take on Pompey this afternoon. They've rotated. So at the end of the day, there's going to be some rotation. You can't get away from that. But it's just how seriously he takes it and how these players respond if, for example, a Rodriguez, heaven forbid, starts in midfield today. Not that I particularly want to see that at all, but you get my point in the sense of Sean Dyche was very damning in his assessment of his Nottingham Forest players on Friday night. He made some changes. He gave some squad players a go on Friday, and they didn't perform. And then he went in his post-match press conference after and said, there you go. All these players knocking on my door. That's the reason I don't play you. And that's refreshing to hear from a Premier League manager. And of course, they beat us in the week, and they lost in pretty dramatic fashion on Friday evening. But at the end of the day, these players have got to turn up now. And okay, this game probably isn't as important as the ones we've got in the Premier League, but it could be used as an asset, as a game that pushes us on and is a mark and stark changing turning point and shift in our season. Right, let's take some of your comments. Mark says, Hermanson has looked dreadful from what I've seen. Let's take no risk today and get in the hat for the next round. Not confident at all. Loving the show, by the way. Thank you very much, Mark. That's greatly appreciated. Yeah, listen, I get your point. I can't, I can't disagree with Hermanson has been poor, but I reckon he could. There's a chance that, he could be in with a shot of getting a appearance today. Would I want to see it? I'm torn, to be honest, because Areola's struggling, but then again, would he struggle even more if you took him out of the side, and mentally would that mess with him a little bit? So I wouldn't be surprised either way. We're less than a minute away from receiving team news, so we'll see who is between the sticks very, very shortly. There we are. There we are. By the way, if I recommend a couple of players that we can get extremely talented and we can make very good money on them in the future. Would anyone be able to get Nuno to explore? Well, Nuno does watch this show. We are very much aware that Nuno watches this show, so potentially. Now, all jokes aside, potentially. Trodge, good afternoon. I hope you are well. Thanks for joining us. Earthy played for Bristol City yesterday. He's going to get minutes there, and he's a pretty liked character at Ashton Gate, so a good move for him. Not so much for us because we could need him unless we're going to bring in some more players in that position. Right, the time is 1:30, which means the starting lineup should be coming our way any second now. And here it is, and it is Hermansen in goal. Wow, oh my lord, look at this. Blimey. Right, let's put you out of your misery. The lineup is rather surprising. Hermansen in goal. We've got a back, what is that? 1, 2, 3. He's gone back five, blimey. A back five of Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Mavropanos, Kilman, and Mayers. Oh my God. Magassa and Potts as a two in midfield, and Somerville, Bowen, and Tati as the front three. Let's look at that subs bench. There's no Areola on the bench. Interesting. Herrick is the keeper, so he is the young keeper. So there's no Fabianski. So we've gone to the fourth choice keeper with Areola discarded from this game. Walker Peters, Pablo, Rodriguez, Suchek, Skulls, Irving, Conte, and Golan Beckis make up the subs bench. Oh my lord, he's gone back five at home to QPR in the cup. Oh, it gets better, doesn't it? So he's gone for all three centre halves. He's gone balls to it and went Todibo, Mavropanos, and Kilman. Mayers, who he quite clearly likes, Nuno, because he brought him on away at Brighton. He brought him on at home to Brighton. And in a couple of other games, Mayers has came on for a brief substitute appearance. And now he has his start. He's gone strong, hasn't he? The two in midfield concerns me. Was there Fernandez on the bench? There is no Fernandez on the bench. So there's either a bit of injury knocking about with the likes of Fernandez and Areola, or he's just purely resting them from the game and giving them the weekend off. The midfield two concerns me. I'm going to be totally honest straight off the bat. Magassa and Potts, they're two good players, but they're two players that have fallen a little bit below average like everybody else in recent weeks. QPR are going to come and they're going to try and impose some physicality on us in midfield. There's going to be a lot of sort of roughing us up and trying to reduce the game down to a scrap. And we've got a two-man midfield, all right? We're going to be a little bit more solid at the back, you'd like to think, with three centre-halves. But yeah, look, I'd have went for Walker Peters over Mayers, but he's gone for Mayers. It's a bold call. And look, the Hermansen call is going to get some criticism. I'm not going to dispute that. I'm not going to slag it off now. I will be the first to slag it off on a full-time whistle if he makes an error, but I can see why he started him. He was very poor at the start of the season. I'm not disputing that. He was dreadful. But give him a go. Why not? You know, this is what these games are for. Areola has been given the whole weekend off, as I sort of expected and predicted, because of everything that's happened, and he's made a couple of errors and just taking him out of the limelight probably is what he's going to do. Fernandez did come off in just a good point. I forgot about that. So yeah, maybe there is an injury there for Fernandez, but I think Areola, not so sure on that one. He is playing his typical plan: defend first half and attack second half. You will see Suchek, Conte, and Pablo coming in for the second half potentially. Yeah, potentially Hermansen. Are you having a laugh? I understand it. I do. I do. But let's see if he makes any errors. If he does, then we can all sit here afterwards with the benefit of hindsight and go, you know what, that was a poor call. But he's given Areola the weekend off. He's given an opportunity to Hermansen, and when here we go. You know, Areola hasn't exactly been brilliant, has he? There's been no clean sheets at all this season, and that's pretty much, you know, one big part of his role, isn't it? So the fact there's been no clean sheets, maybe Hermansen, you could argue, deserves a chance. Wan-Bissaka being back is a massive boost for West Ham. Let's not first of all get away from that. Wan-Bissaka is a big and most important player for West Ham. I think he was Hammer of the Year last year. A player that has pace, power, quality, everything that we've missed whilst he's been away at AFCON. So it's a welcome return for him. Somehow Kilman's managed to wangle his way into a back line again. Todibo, I think, is decent, and Mavropanos, and those two together, Todibo and Mavropanos is. I mean, look, if it were me, I'd have taken Kilman out and put Suchek in and put another body in midfield. But I'm not the manager, and you know, it's not up to me. If I was going to pick two, I probably would have picked Magassa and Potts out of the ones we have fit. But Yeah, I'd have taken Kilman out, gone back four, and chucked Souček in just for another body, a bit of height, physicality, and he scores goals, Souček. And that is what we're going to require this afternoon. A big game for the that big three, front three, isn't it? It's a big game for that front three. Somerville feel like he needs to perform. And if he does score today, it's inevitable that people are going to come out and say, there we go, he's found his level in the championship. And it's hard to dispute that. I think Bowen, of course, is a game against a championship opposition. He could do with a goal just to really find some confidence and probably feel within himself to know that actually, yeah, I know where the goal is still, and I can provide some goals for this West Ham team. And Tati as well against a lower league opposition. Can he get his first goal for West Ham in his second appearance? And he was promising in the first half an hour at home to Forest on Tuesday. He ran about, he got about, he had a bit of pace and zip and fire about him. So let's see if that can continue today, maybe for a longer period of time, and he could get an opportunity. And I'm going to back him to score today. So a big game for a lot of players there, I think. And this is, of course, is a cup game, and you know, there's all the extra connotations that come with that. But above all else, it's a game where it's an opportunity for a lot of players. Hermanson, Kilman, you know, Mayers, Tati. There's a lot of opportunities for those players out there today, and it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt and how they perform. Let's have a little look at the away sides lineup. Not that we're going to know a great deal of their names, but that is going to be coming up onto your screen just now. There we are. Right, so we have, oh, let's click on the right one. Walsh, Mbugu, Doon, Cook, Norrington, Davies, Hayden, Madsen, Dembele, Sato, Coney, and Colley. The bench is Hammer, Adamson, oh, blimey, Akindalini, Smith. Oh, they've got some names here, haven't they? Esquerdina, Field, Morgan, Smith and Benny. Right, I should never have bothered with that. There is some mouthfuls there, and I have not heard of. I've heard of one of the names. Field on the bench is well, the only name I've heard of there. So that is a starting lineup for QPR this afternoon. Smash that like button if you haven't already, and subscribe to West Ham Unofficial ahead of this game. Mayers on the left side, absolutely. Yeah, listen, I'd have put Walker Peters in there, but not up to me. Wan-Bissaka will make a huge difference, and to both. That's a very good point. Those two on that right hand side, you know, that link up, if we can get that back to its best, then that's going to benefit both of the players and the team in the grand scheme of things. That lineup, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I think it's a good lineup, but it's got its flaws. I'd have made a couple of changes to it, but it is what it is, isn't it? I'm going to predict a West Ham win now. I've got a little bit of confidence. We are, what are we, 53 minutes away from kickoff. And yeah, I'm going to go 3-2 West Ham after extra time. And I think it'll be 2-2 after 90 minutes and 3-2 Tati winner after extra time. There we go. There we go. Ben Hammer on the bench is a lad from Chard, is he? Oh, local to us in glorious Somerset. I did not know that, Alfie. Thank you very much indeed for that. That's a good piece of information to know. So, yeah, look, I'm going to go 3-2 after extra time. There's some players that are in desperate and dire need of a performance today. So let's hope that they can provide with a good afternoon. And let's hope that the West Ham fans inside there have a special one, and those QPR fans go home in tears. Let's hope, maybe not tears, but let's hope that, you know, there's going to be plenty of QPR fans in there in the home end and the away end. And yeah, let's show our Premier League prowess, because we may not have the opportunity to do so for very much longer. Let's get the win, let's get through, and a really good performance that I think is what is needed to, in all bases, put us in a good position to go to Tottenham next week and really put in a performance and try and get our season back on track, because boy, it is needed. Thanks everybody for getting involved in the live chat with your comments. It's been greatly appreciated. I will be back on the full-time whistle with hopefully Larry to discuss what we see this afternoon. So let's hope there's a smile on both of our faces, and I will see you all back here on the full-time whistle for our instant match reaction. West Ham QPR, my final and overarching message today is just go out there and show your quality, West Ham, because there is quality. It's as simple as that. We need to show it. We're at home. Use that as our advantage and get through to the fourth round of the FA Cup. There is nothing more to it than that. But from me, come on your irons, and we will see you soon right here on West Ham Unofficial. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.